بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. In today's Maxims we come across, we'll try to take two Maxims tonight. One is the one we put on the board, and that is المؤمنون عند شروطهم. السلام عليكم Sister عطية. المؤمنون عند شروطهم. مؤمنون, the observants should honor their terms and conditions. Observants, مؤمنون, should honor their terms and conditions. Basically, in a brief, it says that it's mandatory to fulfill your promise, the promise that you made to people, any type of promise which is legitimate, then you must fulfill that promise. So this is the spirit of this maxim. The details of it, it has two parts. Part A and Part B. Part A suggests that when two people enter into a contract, they have the freedom to stipulate any condition. They have the freedom. They have the freedom and the privilege. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. They have the freedom and the privilege to stipulate any condition in the contract. We are speaking about a new maxim. In Arabic it says, Al-mu'minuna 'inda shurutihim. The observants, the believers, should honor their terms and conditions. Whenever there is a contract, bilateral contract between two people, they have to honor the terms and conditions of this contract. It means two things. Number one, they are free to stipulate any condition in the contract. They are free, both sides. I'll give an example of that, but let's take the second part. The second part, once they stipulate conditions, shurut, they have to honor them and they have to fulfill them. Unless these conditions contradict what? Contradict what? Islam. Contradict Quran and Sunnah. Contradicts the Sharia, Quran and the Sunnah. Such as what? An example of that. Such as I rent my farm provided that you turn it into winery. I rent it to you, but you have to turn this farm, this grapevine, into a winery. This shart, this condition is unacceptable, so it should not be honored. Okay? Or, for instance, I rent this apartment for you, provided that you don't pray in this apartment. I'll give it to you, yes, but no prayers. You don't do prayers in this apartment. This condition is not honored because it is illegal. Yes?
Okay, so let's say a Muslim owns a land or a building and he rents it out to someone, and then they decide to, let's say, bring alcohol in.
That's a different issue.
Okay.
Because here there was no condition. We are speaking about stipulating a condition in the contract. In that case, he did bring the alcohol later on. So it has different rulings. But, so these are illegal conditions. It should not be honored. Okay? What are the conditions that it could be honored? It's okay to be honored. Alaykum as-salam, salam alaikum. What are the conditions that it could be honored? So, from the examples I gave, the condition should not do something haram, it makes it halal, or otherwise. Something which is halal, it makes it otherwise. But it could contain something makruh. If he asks you, I am renting this apartment, provided that, what is makruh? What is it? Makruh. Makruh is to sleep between sunrise, between dawn and sunrise, Fajr and sunrise. It's makruh to sleep. So he says, provided that you sleep during this time. You know, shut your mouth and your eyes and you go to bed, sleep. This is makruh. It's okay to put it as a stipulation. Or not to do something mustahab. Either to do something makruh or to forego a mustahab. Such as what? Mustahab.
Salatul Layl.
Salatul Layl. Nawafil. Okay? Don't do Salatul Layl because I get disturbed. I am your neighbor. Once you wake up, 3 a.m., you want to use the bathroom and some people, they cry. So don't do these things. I'll rent you this room. It's above my head. So I had this situation. A lady from China, she's a new convert. She told me that I go sometimes to visit my parents. Because I told her, you have to visit your parents. Don't cut off with them. She says, I sleep in the room with my mother and I stand for Salatul Layl. In the middle of the night. Imagine a convert in China. And my mother, she feels sorry for me because in China, she says, we don't put carpet on the floor. It's bare floor. And it's winter, it's cold. She was saying this just 10 days ago. And my mother, she doesn't mind if I want to pray. She doesn't care about that. But she says, how do you stand for half an hour or 45 minutes on bare floor? It's cold. So what should I do, Sayyid? Can you imagine she asks me this question? I told her, if you hurt your mother, she was telling me my mother gets hurt and she starts crying. She says, what sort of religion is this that tortures you? You wake up in the middle of the night and you stand with barefoot on a floor which is cold. I said to her, if she really gets, as she says, tortured, then you should not do Salatul Layl. Rida al-walidain, the satisfaction of your parents is more important than Salatul Layl. Because this is mandatory wajib, that one is mustahab. And always the wajib overtakes and overrides. Of course, I told her, listen, in China, we bring the prayers rugs from China. So you made them in China. Go and get one and use that one. This is another solution. But she says sometimes my mother also, she gets disturbed because we sleep in one room. And when I stand and use the bathroom and, she gets disturbed. So I said, no, don't. So if someone puts a condition, I rent this room here, upstairs or next door room, but you don't do Salatul Layl. It is accepted because this is foregoing mustahab, not wajib. Not wajib. Now, Before we go to the evidence or the evidences of this maxim, which is in the Quran and the Hadith both, and Tasalum 3. Can you give me yourself, give me an example of conditions that we can stipulate in our contracts, in our, selling, transaction, marriage, shurut, giving a loan. Someone gives loan to someone else. He says, you only use it for education. I'm giving you $10,000 as a loan just for school, not for dinners or, going to Hawaii, just for school. So this is a legitimate condition. It has to be honored. Al-mu'minuna 'inda shurutihim. Either you don't accept it from him. Here, how many times people bring donation, say it, we need to purchase shoes for people of Cambodia. I tell them, no, listen, this is too much for me. Give it to, this is not my expertise. Don't put condition, or when you put certain conditions, I can't handle them, so I can't accept it. So these are legitimate ones. What are these conditions? What type of conditions we have in the marriage? That many people, sometimes they put and sometimes they don't, so they lose. I tell them to put.
The woman can divorce if she's...
No, she cannot divorce. You have to say it properly. You are faqih now, 50% faqih, so you have to say it precisely and accurately. The husband now, at the time of marriage, by the way, it could be at the time of the contract and it could be before. It could be before, not the same day. 1 month before, 2 months before, 1 week. So it can be simultaneous when they are doing the contract, or it could be before the contract. The wife or the wife-to-be can ask her husband, future husband, that you give me the right of divorce. He gives her the right of divorce. Meaning that when she does not want to live with him anymore, or she's facing hardships, usra and haraj, their life is reaching a deadlock. There is no way out. They don't get along well. In that case, he gives her the right of divorce, because the right of divorce is the husband's right. In the Quran, what can we do about it? Nothing. No modification now. Maybe in the future, I don't know. So he can give her the right now and tell her, whenever you feel that your life is miserable, you cannot continue your life with me, then now I am giving you the permission, from now. They can put these stipulations in the marriage contract. Or I decide where we live. I decide where we purchase a house. I decide the school we send our kids to. And so on and so forth.
So what about into the marriage? You can't amend it or add to it later?
No.
Okay.
No. This is at the time where they meet and they are about to get married. Too late. After 50 years, it's too late. It has to be at that time. So these are legitimate. Now, how about if she tells him, you cannot marry a second wife?
That goes against the Quran, kind of, right?
No, because
Well,
it's not
no,
obligatory.
She has to give him the right?
Oh, she has.
What did you say?
It's not obligatory.
Exactly.
What's not obligatory?
It's not wajib to marry a second wife. We said earlier, these conditions have to be honored unless it makes what is halal haram or what is haram halal. But she's not telling him it's haram for you to marry a second wife. It's not haram for him. She says, I don't want you to marry. I know it's halal, but I don't want you to exercise this privilege. Is this acceptable or not? Huh?
Yes.
It's acceptable. She's not doing something illegal. She's not turning the second marriage into being illegal. She's saying, I don't accept this.
But I have a question.
Or many of them, they say, divorce me and then enjoy your second wife. This is what they say. Many people, this is what. Yeah.
What about later? Can she take it back though? And say, okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes. These conditions can be
Wait.
waived or refuted later on. Any condition, not just marriage.
Okay.
Any condition, it could be modified and waived later on.
Can be, okay.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But it has to be agreed on both sides.
Yeah. The agreement has to be from both, of course.
Even
Not
if
just
they-
one side.
Right.
Yeah, from both sides.
But even if they made the deal in the beginning, it could change later.
Yes.
Well, if you were,
However, there are some exceptions here. Let me just, before I forget this. If the wife says to him, the dowry is on me. Have you seen when they go for ice cream or coffee, he says on me? She says, dowry on me, not on you. The mahar, the marriage gift, the dowry, I would pay. I will pay you the dowry. So they write in the marriage contract, the wife is paying the husband the dowry. Is this condition acceptable?
should be.
Why
should
not?
be.
Isn't the husband required to?
Yeah, well, anyway, the husband has to provide the dowry.
Is it
Well,
obligatory?
Yes,
It
to
is obligatory.
It is?
Huh? Continue,
Yeah,
yes.
it is obligatory.
So-
Whether you put the condition or not, still. you have
No,
to-
she's saying that there is a dowry, but rather than you giving the dowry, I will give it.
But
The wife will give
Is
it.
he obliged to give her his, but she can also give if she wants?
One at a time. Let's see whether they can switch.
So the guy
Can they switch?
doesn't have to pay the dowry.
Yeah, he doesn't pay, she pays the dowry.
So
Is
there's
that
two
a-
things.
Huh?
One is that he's absolved from paying.
Yeah.
The second thing is
She-
he's actually paying.
And she's saying, she's suggesting this, not him. She's suggesting this.
He just got married, so I think he can answer this.
No, I think it still not, doesn't absolve him, the man, from the dowry.
Mm.
Even
the
if
question.
the woman provides it.
The answer is no. The answer, the husband should pay anything, nominal thing, this one, pencil, which has value, of course. It has to have value. In the market, it has to have value. $1.50. However, if she wants to pay, she pay a gift, not a dowry. Not a dowry. She would pay him a gift, or she will buy the house, she will spend the money on, sustenance, on the expenses. Yes, she's very welcome, alhamdulillah. We wish, inshallah, one day this will happen, but she cannot say this is a dowry. She can put another name. And the husband has to pay a dowry. These are exceptions which cannot be considered shurut. These are unacceptable stipulations. Okay? Now, what is the madrak, my friends? The madrak of this, first one, the evidence, is Surah Al-Mu'minun, chapter 23, verse 8. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ أطيا خانم وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ. The believers are, for their trust and their promises, are observant, ra'un. They would fulfill their promises. So this is a general term, that whenever the believers, they make a promise, they make a pledge, then they have to honor it. They have to honor it. So this is in the Quran. Where is the more specific one? It's in the hadith. And we have sahiha, we have muwathaqa, we have several hadiths. Couple of hadiths, both of them are sahiha. And sahihat Abdullah ibn Sinan, sahihat Abdullah ibn سنان عن الإمام الصادق عن أبي عبد الله أبو عبد الله إمام الصادق عليه السلام. What does it say? It say المسلمون عند شروطهم, not just مؤمنون, مسلمون, wider. Any person who makes a pledge, they have to stand by it. إلا, except, with this exception. What is the exception? كل شرط خالف كتاب الله عز وجل فلا يجوز. If it contradicts the Quran, the book of God, then that condition and that shart and that term is voided, is unacceptable. Okay? أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام موثقة إسحاق بن عمار عن أبي عبد الله from Imam الصادق عن أمير المؤمنين. This has the chain of the Imams in this. أن علي بن أبي طالب كان يقول, Imam Ali عليه السلام would say, من شرط لامرأته شرطا فليفي لها به. Whoever gives his wife, meaning at the time of marriage, a condition or a promise, then he must fulfill that promise. If he tells her before marriage that once we get married, I'll buy you a house, I'll put the house in your name, I'll buy you a car, I'll take you to Hajj, I'll let you see your parents every 6 months, I'll let you go to school, I'll let you work. Okay, then these promises has to be fulfilled. Becomes legally binding. You cannot break these promises. And if she also makes promises to him that I will be obedient, and then following day, she changes her mind.
Okay, so the man is responsible, based on the evidence. What about the parents of the man? Sometimes you see that they say, we're going to get you this.
Absolutely. Any Muslim or mu'min, any human being, makes any promise or a pledge to anyone, to any person, even strangers, then they have to fulfill that. Becomes an obligation. If he was serious when he gave this pledge, then that's it. He has to fulfill that obligation. Not just the parents or the relatives, right, or the neighbors. You make a pledge to any person. I will help you. I will host you in my house. I will go with you to the attorney. I will solve this problem for you. Then this is a pledge. مؤمنون عند شروطهم. They should not break the promises that they made.
So say, is this the same as the same maxim as like for making a promise with God? Is it the same? Like doing a nazr? Is this the maxim that applies to that?
No. Nadr has certain, this one does not need certain صيغة. صيغة means formula. Because in the nadr you have to say the formula. You have to say, لله تعالى علي نذر, it's for God, upon me. There is a pledge, if he cures my son, I will do such and such. قربة إلى الله تعالى. And then he has to make a niyyah. So it has a formula. This one does not need a formula. This one, casual conversation. Doesn't need a formula. You write something, you text him that I will pick you up from the airport when you come. And then he doesn't show up. Okay? Now, of course, when they speak about this maxim, they always say the shart, شروطهم, which is the singular is shart. It has to be سائغ. What does سائغ means? سائغ, legitimate. سائغ means legitimate. So it has to be legitimate. Some scholars said legitimate means one condition. One condition summarizes the legitimacy of the condition, and then what they say, لم يكن مخالفا للكتاب والسنة. This is لم يكن مخالفا للكتاب والسنة. It does not conflict with the book and the hadith, the sunnah of the Prophet. It doesn't conflict with them. Not mukhalif. However, some people, they elaborated on this. They said there are four things. 4 points. Number one is this, لم يكن مخالفا. Okay. Number two, it does not switch what is halal into haram, neither what is haram into halal, which is basically goes under this, but they give details. Number three, it cannot be منافيا لمقتضى العقد, contradicting the spirit of the contract. What does that mean? Give me an example. Contradicting the spirit of the contract or the goal of the contract. Give me an example.
So let's say, for example, in that example where the person can't do Salatul Layl because it bothers their neighbor. That means that they also can't get up in the middle of the night and play drums or something else that would bother them.
Yes, absolutely. It could be. But what is meant here is something else. I'll give you an example. Two people, they get married, but then they put a stipulation, you don't touch me and I don't touch you. Then this is, what sort of marriage is this? Let's say permanent marriage. But you don't look at me and I don't look at you. You don't touch me and I don't touch you. This is contradicting the spirit of aqd. Marriage means they live together. They have relationship together.
How about some people do it just to get like a visa, or I mean like a green card or something?
See, then that is not real marriage. We are speaking about marriage, authentic marriage, not for papers. That one is for papers. So everybody knows they are not going to touch each other.
Right, but is that actually haram? يعني إنه
Do they? I don't think they do religious one. They just do legal
just
ones.
illegal. Okay,
I don't think anybody does religious one.
from religious standpoint.
Yeah. So in that case, this is unacceptable. Because marriage means you have to have a relationship. What sort of marriage is when you don't see your partner, you don't touch your partner? Or another example, I sell this ranch, this house, this property to you, but you are not the owner. You won't be the owner. I sell it to you, but you are not the owner. This contradicts the spirit of the selling. Means that you give me the keys and I go inside and it's in my name. Now sometimes he doesn't put it in your name, no problem. For instance, with the government, for some reasons, tax reasons, whatever, it stays in his name, the previous owner's name, okay? But he says, not only stays in my name, you don't become the owner. So this is not accepted. Because this is against the very principle of selling. Selling means when you pay the money, you become the owner. Now, sometimes the ownership is delayed after 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes parents want to give their house. They have many children. They want to give their house to one of them, to one of those children, be it male or female. I've seen this so many times. So they come to me, they say, after my death, I want my daughter to get the house because she was serving me, she was helping me. I say, after your death, too late. Because once you die, you have no control over your estate, your money, your property. You have no control. It has to be divided according to the book. However, you can do something while you live. You can give it to her now as hiba, a gift, but that gift is activated after your death. Put this stipulation, short, that I'll give her the house now while I am still living, but she can use it. It goes effectively into her usage and disposal and control after my death. This is acceptable. Because even at the sickness of death, whatever wasiyah we write is not acceptable. Not death itself, before death. Let's say they told him you have cancer, you have 2 years, you have 1 year, you have 6 months. And then he goes home, he goes to the lawyer and he tells him, okay, I give the factory to this, the house to that. He cannot. Once he knows that he entered the death, the sickness that leads into death. Maradul maut. Maradul maut. The death that eventually is, the sickness that eventually is going to lead him into death. Then he's not allowed to.
Okay, what about if he had the intention, let's say that I'm gonna leave this house eventually, but they're not sick. But then they got sick, and then they said, okay, now I'm gonna,
So he was not sick.
so he wasn't sick.
Yeah. During a time where he was not sick, he has the right.
Yeah, the intention.
But he has to write it down, or if he doesn't write it, then he has to have at least 2 witnesses.
Oh, that's what I mean, so he has to.
Yeah,
write it.
yeah. We have these cases, they come to us and he says, my dad, I knew many times he said, my son, I love you, I'm going to give you the house. But that is not an evidence. This is not a religious evidence.
That was at the death.
Religious evidence means even you have a piece of document
Right.
written, signed by him and 2 witnesses, or if it is not written, it has to be spoken. And 2 witnesses, they say, yes, we heard him saying that.
Okay.
That I give this a property now, I give it to my son or my daughter.
So even if he had the intention by himself in his mind,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
No, and this is only the wasiyah.
We have ithbat and thubut. That stage in his mind is ithbat. He's right, he's not lying. The son, he's not lying, yes, it wasn't him. But thubut is the second stage. You have to show me. You have to show me evidence. Being in your father's mind and only you yourself, you heard about it, you knew about it, it's not enough. We need at least 2 witnesses. We have ithbat and we have thubut.
Said the son, the father, though, if he says,
Yeah.
like 2 years ago I wasn't sick, and in my mind I'm going to give my son the house, but now that I'm sick, I just want to write it down what I already wanted to do.
But 2 years ago, when he said that, did anyone hear him?
Yes, there's still need to be 2 witnesses.
Exactly. Yes. Now,
How about here? Do you need witnesses here?
on this,
On this?
no. On this, you have the obligation. The other side that you made a promise to him, he cannot come and take you to court because he has no evidence, only he himself. We are being advised that once you make a promise, you have to fulfill it. Even if the other side does not have any witnesses. Even if the other side doesn't know about it. You put it on a piece of paper, he didn't even see the piece of paper. He didn't see it. But you took it upon yourself that I would help him. I will write it down here, nobody knows about it. Hold on, I shut the book. Once I do this promise, I have to fulfill it. Okay. So this is part of what is, and then we said that these conditions could be muttasil or munfasil. What does muttasil and munfasil mean? Muttasil or munfasil. So you could put them during the contract, when you are signing the contract, and you can speak about them before the contract. Before the contract. Not necessarily during that time. Now, let me ask you this question. If someone gave someone else i'ara. I'ara means you give a loan. Not necessarily money. You give your phone. You give your book. You have given your book, your bag, your things as i'ara. I'ara means giving it temporarily to someone to use it. And that thing is damaged. That item is damaged. When the second man took it, it was damaged. Should he pay, compensate or not? Why?
He only has to compensate for what happens after he got it.
Yeah, he got it.
But
The second man, I gave it to him.
let's say it was broken, but then he
No, it wasn't broken. It was safe.
oh,
He took the book from me. He took the book from me, very safe, nothing wrong with it. He said, 1 week, I'll return it. And then it was lost. He forgot it in the rental car and he didn't return it. Should he pay for it?
No.
Why?
Because the person that gave it to him gave it to him. He gave him permission.
Mm.
The case that he would have to pay for is if he took it without permission.
Mhm.
He has to pay for it.
But based on the previous maxim that says,
Mm.
if I trust you in giving you something,
Mm.
that you have to return it.
No, he has
He
to
asked
return
He
it.
has to return it.
But
it
the guy, he
under
lost
condition.
it. He lost it.
Did he ask
It's
for it?
lost.
Or
Huh?
Did he ask for
He
it?
asked for it. I asked someone, please give me your pen, give me your book.
You gotta pay for
I will, and then I lost it.
Yeah, he has to pay.
I lost it. So should I pay or not? Should I compensate or not?
It sounds like he made a promise and he broke it. Right, I made a promise I'm gonna return it, and then he never returned it, so
Mhm.
he's responsible, I think.
But he did not do it on purpose.
What's good?
It was stolen. It was lost somewhere. He can't find it. Should
But
he?
maybe it's out of negligence from his side.
Unless he states, if I accidentally lose it, I won't give it back.
In general, he doesn't have to pay compensation for the aria. This is called aria. Aria, when you give something as a loan. Aria. We have a whole chapter in fiqh called aria. Aria means that when you give something as a loan to someone else. So if that aria, that item is damaged, then the receiver does not have to pay compensation unless, my friends, look at me, unless what? Unless he made a promise that I will, or the owner said, listen, if something happens to my book, you have to get me a new one, or you have to give me the money. Then he puts a condition here. Otherwise, if there is no condition, then he doesn't have to pay.
So قاعدة الائتلاف doesn't apply here.
No. قاعدة الإتلاف does not, because قاعدة الإتلاف, when someone takes your property without your permission. In this case, he asked you for a loan and you gave it to him. Unless he says, listen, if something happens, you are responsible, and you tell him yes, in that case he has to pay.
So say that in the example you give, the guy using it has to promise to return it, and the other guy has to put a condition that if you lose it, you gotta pay for it. So
Yeah.
two of them.
Yes. No, it doesn't have to be two. once you hear it from him and you don't say no. The person is saying, I am giving you this book, but listen, if something happens to it, you have to compensate me. You are responsible. So that side does not have to say yes. He heard the sentence. He heard the sentence and he took the book. If he doesn't want, he could say, no, listen, this is,
Buys agreement.
yeah.
But, okay, so that's cool, but what about the promise to return it? He says, okay, I got the book, I promise I'll give it back to you. If he damages it, then he has to pay him back, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But in this case, if the loaner is putting the condition, once the receiver, he hears it, it means he accepted it. Otherwise, he can say, no, listen, this is a big responsibility. I can't take it. No, don't leave it with me because, okay? One more thing before we conclude. If someone says that I sell you my house or my ranch or my land, provided that I become your proxy, I have حق التصرف, the right of what? Control. The right of control of this. I'll sell it to you with this condition. I sell you this building, but I am the one who has حق التصرف. Though I sold it to you and you are the owner, but I still have the right to come in, to go out, to add one more room, to demolish one room.
To sell? Right to sell?
حق التصرف, it could be as wide as big as selling too, not just modification or renovation. Yeah, to sell it.
That's like not even given to them.
No, why?
Because it dishonors.
Someone
'Cause you-
from the Middle East, he says, take this money, buy me a property, and you have the right of control.
Including the right to sell?
Yeah. Right to sell, right to
And keep
rent.
the proceeds?
Huh?
And keep the proceeds? of
That's
the
a
sale?
different issue. To keep the proceeds, where to go, that's the second stage.
Then,
But that's his legal contract. You are selling it to him, but you are still the one who's controlling the building.
that should be okay.
Alhamdulillah, you changed your mind immediately.
But it doesn't that conflict with the spirit of the contract? But on the other hand, you can give someone power of attorney, right?
Yeah. Power of attorney.
But
He's not the owner. He's power of attorney, but he has, whenever he likes to rent it, he will rent it. Whenever he likes to sell it, if the price is good or bad, he can sell it. You still can give him this. If you agree to this, it's okay.
That's when they do وكالة عامة or
Yeah, makala am. Sometimes you are too busy. He says, you don't live in this country. I live in this country. I know the market. I know the circumstances. So don't come to me and say, why did you sell? Why didn't you sell? Give me this and I can do whatever I think.
You have to have a second contract and say it that gives the wakil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The condition is considered as a contract. If it is unilateral, if it is agreed upon from the other side, two sides, so this is called, what is it called? It has a specific term in fiqh.
What?
They usually use it at the time of marriage. At the time of marriage, we call this prenuptial agreement. الشرط ضمن العقد. الشرط, the condition within. ضمن means within. ضمن العقد. Within. Sometimes they call it الشرط what? الشرط what, my sweeties? الشرط الضمني. الضمني means it is within a contract. It's not it's not by itself, standing by itself. This condition is within الضمني. ضمني means it is within a contract.
Is that from the same root as Zamin, as if somebody...
Yeah, ضمان, yes, yeah. ضمان means included. This here, it means included. Included. ضمني means included. Included in the contract. This condition is attached. And usually we use this for marriage a lot. They use these conditions for marriage. Sometimes one paper, one whole paper. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 25.
Is this in the Shia and Sunni for the marriage?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And it is better to put conditions because some people, they marry blindly. They know nothing about their rights and their responsibilities. And then they get in trouble. After a few months, they start fighting with each other.
So in the Sunni, they also say like the woman can take the right to do the divorce if he gives her.
Yeah. In fact, in the Sunni tradition, divorce is much easier than the Shia. Contrary to the Quran. Quran, Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, Allah says, وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوِي عَدْلٍ مِنْكُمْ. وَأَشْهِدُوا, take witnesses, ذَوِي عَدْلٍ, 2 people who are adil when you do divorce. Sunnis, they don't do that. They don't honor this. It's in the Quran. Check it out. Ayah number 2. Chapter 65, verse number 2. Allah says, when you do the divorce, you need to have 2 witnesses. 2 just witnesses. But in their tradition, the husband, in the middle of the night, he becomes angry and he tells her طالق.
Yeah.
And sometimes طالق 3 times. You know that? أنت طالق بالثلاث. He says the sentence once, X3, he puts X3 on X3. And he demolishes the whole family. So in the Sunni tradition, divorce is much easier than marriage. In the Shia tradition, exactly the opposite. Marriage is easy, divorce is difficult. Marriage does not have, it's not mandatory to have, though it is advisable to have witnesses in the marriage, but you don't have to.
Right.
It can go through without witness and very easy. 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Divorce, no, you have to wait until she's clean, until a new cycle comes, until blah, 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 blah. Has many things. And then you have to have witnesses. Okay, 48 minutes. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. We wanted to